Hey guys, welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Before we get into it though, I'd like to remind you guys to leave a like on the video, comment something, and share it. And with that being said, I'd also like to remind you guys to enjoy the video and to be safe wherever you're watching. So let's get into it. When we last left off, Shizune handed us our ass in a game of Risk, and had essentially trying her damnedest to get us to join the student council. And we noticed a couple of times that one of the students in our class frequently leaves class. Of course, I know why, but why is that? I'm sure we find out when we take her path. Anyways, it should be unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Shi-chan. We think the library's open. It's on the second floor. Can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is? No, thanks. It's okay. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. One flight of stairs up and I run into problems. The second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third floor one. Wide, of course, and plain like only hallways can be. The problem is that the library's whereabouts are not easily determined as one would think. The classrooms are marked with signs dating which class they belong to, but then there's another plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them, or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the letter and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner and an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either though, just barely ajar so that I can see it's open and nothing else. It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open, and while this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it means that someone's inside and I could ask for directions, no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips. Every muscle on my arm is ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to the school can't be shaken from my mind. So much of that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. The door slowly creaks as if groaning from a deep sleep, though it's much easier to open than I'd anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head over even further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, and the meek hello on my lips is quickly snatched away. This is not as I was expecting. I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure taking center stage in the otherwise abandoned room. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway, staring at the beautiful girl. Evidently taking her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes, but doesn't look at me. Hello there, may I help you? Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me that she's being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I'd ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I met, she's strikingly distinct. Hi, sorry for intruding. I was just kind of lost. She takes a moment to formulate response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand. Care to take a seat? Unexpected, considering that I am intruding upon her. Um, thanks. I slowly stepped towards another seat opposite of her, the girl resting the teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling. That, and the slight cloudiness in her eyes means she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. I guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. The calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office. I take it you're a new student to Yamaku. Ah, yeah, I just transferred in yesterday. I get the distinct feeling that my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers. I accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting, one which I hastened to match before realizing the futility of the action. I am Lilly Sato. Pleased to meet you. Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup. Would you care for a drink? Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives me a kind nod and taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along the shelf. A brush here, a brush there, her left hand often lightly touching the side of whichever container she's pouring into. It seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty finger to measure the right amount of water in the cup. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone attempts to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me, and Lily herself seems to have her workarounds for problems I'd never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of preparing the drink. So, her soft voice brings me out of my silent observance. Which room are you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school. The school library. Shizune and some classmates told me it was on this floor. She finishes pouring water into the teacup and she nods. A small metallic tapping coming from the teacup, indicating it's being stirred. I'm aware of Miss Michi, and as are most students. To be with them means you're in class 3-3, no? That's right, in the science room with Moto. She gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking towards the table with teacup and saucer in hand. He's quite the character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do. As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. I'm really more of a coffee person, but this seems like a bad moment to bring it up. Nonetheless, the smell's quite nice. I heartily think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Sato. It tastes really nice. She smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face. Lily, please, there's no need to be too formal. She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Oh well. I guess I should try to ask her about herself, as it really does seem as if she's catering to me. So which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes. Correct, I'm in class 3-2, which is on the third floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi and is specifically for both blind and partially blind students. I see. Sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the fox pass. Looking at her face, though, she doesn't seem to in the least bit put off by it. My, there's no need to change your speech on my account. Ah, sure, sorry, I guess I'm showing my newness here. An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everybody, many have come to terms with their conditions, a category which could include her, it seems. All too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be a better version of the place behind my school that I like to have lunch at. I come here fairly often during lunch times. My duties as a class representative don't leave much time for an official club, so a friend and I use this room for having tea. Class representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be almost complete opposite. While Shizune is blunt and fiercely driven, Lilly seems relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view of the school's clubs. What kinds of clubs are there to join? The more popular ones are the track and field club, which uses the field near the school during lunch times, the basketball club, and the book club in the room near the library. There are also numerous small ones too, those such as the art and music clubs. At a time when I was just wanting to get on my feet, rushing into a club right away seems slightly unappealing. I wonder if this school shares the same rules as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club? It isn't, though it's encouraged. Good, that's a relief. I've already let my guard down around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. Not wanting my tea to get cold, I finally start drinking it, as Lilly does the same. As I look over the window over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room as a distinctly orange tint. Even here, time doesn't stand still. Huh? Time's gone quickly. Sorry? Right, she's blind, of course she can't see the sun setting. It just looks like the sun's starting to set. It seems to come as a surprise for her. I guess she must have lost track of time. Sorry, Hisao, I didn't mean to keep you from the library for so long. I quickly moved to allay her concern. No, it's okay, the library's still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think on it. It's probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lilly seems likely to know in any case. True, it's open until 6:30 during weekdays. As a quick glance at my watch confirms, I have well enough time to get there. I might get going in that case. It's been nice talking with you, Lilly. She smiles and gives a deep nod with her hands still neatly folded on the table in front of her. It was my pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you where the library is? I couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it all right. Well, unless my navigational skills fail me, which they seem to have a habit of doing. It's all right. I was going to be talking to the librarian in there in any case. I could introduce you. This gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny her offer. If you're sure, then that'd be great. Thanks. As she stands up to follow me, she takes hold of a straight retractable cane that had been slipped in the handle of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy used in my class had, Lily's looks much thinner and longer. This must be for support, whereas Lily is for navigation. Together we leave the peaceful room and enter the empty hallway on the way to the library. Side by side, my pace carefully slowed to match hers. We slowly walk through the hallway. It doesn't take us long for a drive at the corner of the warm-looking room, apparently situated in the center of the floor rather than either wing. Ladies first. She gives an appreciative smile and gesture, taking the lead as we file in. To the left is the wooden library counter, with the library proper being on the right. It easily dwarfs my old school's library, with a distinct smell of old books giving the place an almost old-world air. There don't seem to be a lot of students here. Considering the time, it isn't a big surprise. Everyone's probably either in school grounds or the dorms. Yuko, are you here? She says with a thin air as the librarian doesn't seem to be present. Of course, Lily can't see this. What's unexpected that it draws a reaction. Something from under the counter thuds against it, followed by a quiet wail. Aww. The The origin, apparently, the librarian quickly crawls out and bounces up to extremely rigid attention. Hi, Lily. How can I help you? Her voice is strained and failing to attempt to sound casual as she's rubbing the back of her head. Good afternoon. What happened just now? I heard a strange sound. It's nothing. I just hit my head. See, I dropped an eraser under my desk, and while I was looking for it, a pencil dropped when I was looking for both. Then you came in and surprised me. Are you alright? I'm sorry, I couldn't know. It's okay. It's okay. Sorry for making you worry. This is nothing. I've had worse happen to me. She quickly reverses. She's quick to reverse Lily's apologies, almost frantically trying to push aside the possibility that she could be in any way inconvenienced by bashing her head on the counter. Yes, worse things have happened. The girl fidgets with her fingers as Lily doesn't seem to drop her concerned expression, and then she shuffles into some papers around the corner for no reason. A little shorter than Lily, replete with glasses, freckles, and a very troubled look, she seems to fit the library perfectly. Lily, did you get my message? Message? Oh, the 2 imported books that arrived? Right. They finally came. I can't believe it took so long, but amidst her celebrations, partially for managing to change the topic, I'm sure, she notices me from the corner of her eye and freezes on the spot when she does. Oh no, I'm sorry for not noticing you before. Did you need to check out a book or return one? I'm sorry. The way she can quickly shift between moods is a little unsettling. He's with me, Yuko. This is Hisao, a new student. Hisao, this is Yuko, the school librarian. Pleased to meet you. Hisao. Right, Hisao. Pleased to meet you too, Hisao. For a second, she visibly attempts to engrave the name on her mind so she won't forget. Yuko often arranges to import foreign books for me in Braille. Would you like to tell Hisao a little something about the library? Lily's innocent suggestion is met with an expression of abject terror. Please, Lily, I can't. I don't even know what he could be interested in. This is too much responsibility. How was it any responsibility at all? I don't get. But her objection is so sincere, I don't doubt it for a second, that she would rather disembowel herself on the spot than tell me where the light novels are. But, so there are a lot of books in Braille here? I attempt to save the day by asking the first thing that pops into my head. It seems to work at least partially, as Yuko seems to not exactly relax, but at least looks slightly less tense. Well, I think about third or fourth of Yamaku's library is either in Braille or audio. Makes sense, given the blind students that'd be here. If it's only that, how come this library is so big in the first place? We get a lot of new books regularly, because the library is adequately endowed. That's probably why. They spend more money on new books than on my salary, then I have to organize and shelve all of them. It's so troublesome. They waste so much. I wish I could quit this job. A very awkward silence flows at this revelation of too much information. I'll go check the owls if you don't mind. It's probably best for all of us if she doesn't keep talking to me. Very well. Meanwhile, Yuko, I would have those books if it's alright with you. My first impression was right. The library is surprisingly big. Ambling down the narrow aisles, I study the spines of the books at random order, occasionally sliding one out to read the blurb, taking with me if it looks good. In a few moments, I have a respectable stack of books in my arms. I guess I'll never be stuck for choice in here. The normality of the library sinks in. Sure, there are large print Braille books scattered throughout but it is what it is. A library. It's as if the calm mood from the room I had tea with Lily had snuck in with us here, unless it was here to begin with. Something about that puts me at ease, just like before. I reach the end of the aisle and find a collection of desks set up for study or personal reading. Going a little further through, I discover a nice quiet corner in the back. Meanwhile, the rest of the library has an odd student sitting at the desk, either reading or stealthily sleeping. The back is pretty much deserted. As I glance around, I see someone who I recognize sitting on one of the several beanbags. It's the dark-haired girl from my class, the one who snuck out of the classroom earlier. She's reading a book, keeping it close to her face, which makes it look like she's really into it. From the way she was acting today, I had her pegged as more of a delinquent than a bookworm. In fact, her mysterious disappearance from the class raises all sorts of whys in my head. Intrigue floats slowly but surely towards the surface, and before I know it, I'm walking towards the mysterious long-haired girl. I guess there's no harm in introducing myself, as I would with anyone else. She's a classmate after all. Walking over to another beanbag, I take a seat and lay my books aside. That's not a seat, homie. You just threw yourself onto the fucking chair. The girl starts looking scaredly up at me from underneath her figure. This is the first time I've seen her this close. Underneath her long, dense bangs, I can see the part of her face, at least a third, if not half, is pretty badly scarred. My eyes are immediately drawn to the scars, subconsciously peeking past her hair until they meet with her own eyes. For a second, I'm shocked and divert my eyes to the book in her hands before I realize that looking away probably makes it worse. It takes too many seconds to collect myself, and I remember that I walked up to her for... Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. It's okay. The girl certainly doesn't look like it's okay, but I let it slide. So, do you mind if I sit here? She seems very uncertain whether it's okay or not for me to sit, but finally she nods just a little. Oh, okay. I take the seat next to her. She hides herself behind her book. Life of Pi. Never heard of it. So, sorry again for startling you. I'm Hisao. She looks up from her book, stalling a little before replying. No. We are in the same class. Her speech is stilted and so quiet that it's barely audible even in the still library. Somehow I think that my delinquent impression of her was wrong. Hanako. I'm Hanako. I resist the urge to say that's a nice name, just to have something to say, but really it's the only thing I can think of. I feel like an idiot. Everyone here must be used to being different to each other, and here I am being all bothered and fussed about that kind of thing. Don't let me interrupt your reading. I'll just check these books if you don't mind. She nods a little and sighs. That's a sigh of relief. So I read the covers of the introductions of the books I picked up, and she buries her face in her book. An uncomfortable silence consumes us. My eyes still wander to her direction, and I sneak peeks at her flowing hair, the scars it's hiding. After a while, I realize she's doing the same thing and only pretend to be immersed in the life of Pi. Her gaze is not inquisitive at all, though. It darts around like a scared rabbit. When her gazes finally meet, the chain of reaction is unstoppable. She stands up forcefully from the beanbag and takes a deep breath. I've gotta go do something. Without a warning, Hanako takes off and runs towards the counter. Her hair-like takeoff catches me so off guard that I don't manage to go after her until she has a good head start. By the time I reach the counter, she is nowhere to be seen. Lilly and Yuko are happily chatting away. Knowing that, I won't be able to catch Hanako myself if I approach the girls. Hey, did you see or notice a girl run past here? Maybe. What did she look like? Long, dark hair, kinda shy. She had, well, some scars on her face. You wouldn't be talking about Hanako, would you? Yeah, that's her. I saw her reading and tried to talk to her, but I think I scared her off or something. Oh dear, Yuko, would you excuse me? I had better try and find her. Sure, I'll just hold on to these until you come back. What's going on? I'm sorry, but I'll have to explain it to you some other time. Right, I'll see you later then. Lilly hastily grabs her cane and hurries out of the library, leaving me alone with Yuko. I don't think I'll ever get the hang of this place. Did I do something wrong? What did you do? Nothing. I was just looking at some books and then she got this fit and ran off. The most offending thing I can think of was that I might have looked at her general direction a few times. Well, she is a very timid girl. You'll have to be very careful around her. She can be very jumpy, I think. And she's not accustomed to talking with other people. Isn't that a bit strange? I wonder if it's just how she is, I think. Yuko doesn't sound concerned all that convincing. Then again, this is just the norm around here. Everyone has their own problems, or else they wouldn't be here. But how should I deal with these people? Forcing myself to act overly casually only makes me feel phony, like I was supposed to be ignoring the elephant in the room. Yuko fidgets, looking like she wants to say something to that, but resists it. I think it's an elephant only if you feel that way. I guess she doesn't have a good sense of self-restraint. It makes me smile as she blushes heavily. What, did I say something? Did that sound stupid? No, it sounded really wise. I guess you're right, it's more about me than anyone else. Neither of us have anything to add, so Yuko fills the silence by shuffling some papers around. People who have papers on their desk really like doing that. Did you find any books? I should be closing soon. I mean, the library should be closing, but I have to do it. I hope that's not too inconvenient for you. Oh yeah, I want some books, but I left them over there because I'll just go get them. I fetched my stack of books from beside the beanbags where Hanako and I were sitting and returned to the counter. Wow, you read a lot, don't you? I surprised myself with that too, honestly. At least when I really think about it. I had a lot of free time earlier this year, so I just kind of started reading books to fill that time. I couldn't do much else. I see. But she doesn't say anything else and just checks out my books for me. I guess that's what they call tact. Holding the library books with one arm, I draw in my pocket for the key to the door. A sudden sound from behind me startles me. Makes me nearly drop my books I'm carrying, or the key that I almost managed to get into the lock. Who is it? I turn to see who's talking to me. It's Kenji. He seems to be in a friendly mood, although the lighting off his glasses in the dark gives him a sinister look. It's just me. This makes him pause and lick his lips nervously. Who is me? I don't know anyone called me. Are you some new guy again? His voice is suddenly strained and quick. Yes, but we've met before yesterday. I don't think so. I wouldn't remember somebody who I only met yesterday. When was that? What day is it today? I try to ignore him. Is he joking or what? Prove that we've met before. You live across the hall. You're Kenji. Kenji jumps back as if his eyes are filled with uncomprehending fear. How do you know my name? Damn, this can only mean one or two things. Either we have met or you're just telling the truth and I just can't remember it, or are you a spy? He pauses. A psychic spy. His eyes dart around me, trying to peek into my room. Although it's hard to believe he can see anything through those thick glasses. His mood swung around from friendly to manic in less than a minute. I'm not psychic. How do I know that? I'm not a mind reader. Kenji points a finger in my face damningly. Unlike you! Stop that, man. We met yesterday. What's wrong with you? I live in this room. Lies. If you think you can pass as Hisao because I'm legally blind, you're sorely mistaken. You don't even look like him. I mean, the resemblance is real slim. Real slim. Maybe at a distance, but who do you think you're kidding? I want to grab him by the shoulders and shake him, exasperated. I rub my eyes and let out a heavy sigh. Stay there. Kenji comes closer, one careful step at a time. I stay still, lest he assault me physically, though I doubt he could do much damage if he did. Oh wait, I see now. Damn, it really is you. Sighing again, and those once again for good measure I step backwards just in case. What's up, man? You don't look too good. I think something wrong? I don't know, just had something stupid happen to me. A few stupid things actually, even if you discount this one. I can't get a proper touch on the people here, and I have no idea if it's because of me or because of them. I don't know why I'm telling this to Kenji. It's not like we've had any contact either. That's rough, dude. Yeah, sorry about calling you a psychic spy and all. Just you can't be too careful. It's hard reality we live in. I'm slowly starting to think that Kenji isn't necessarily living in the same reality as the rest of us. You see, this is how it is. The world, there is no justice, you see. Even when I lose, I win because I don't lose the lesson. What does that even mean? It doesn't matter. He dismisses it flatly with a wave of his hand. So what happened? Why the long face? Do you have a long face? It's nothing. I just scared off some girl accidentally. Literally, too. She ran away from me. Was it my fault, really, I think? I'm not really used to all this yet. A girl? A cute one? Cute? That's a hard question. She had a nice body, a really beautiful hair, but the face, I guess it could go either way. And with that being said, that's all the time that we have for now. But before I end this off, make sure to like the video, comment something, and share it. Because to keep the momentum of the growth momentum going. And you join the Discord. It's completely free. And my community is steadily growing, which you'll receive updates on when I post videos and when it is I go live. I live stream. So Mondays at 8 PST and Fridays at 8 PST. YouTube notifications will fail, so it's a good way to keep updated when I make content and the like. But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.